My life is a miracle. Every child has a story of God's love to share. Shalom World, tune into God's love story.
Hey, welcome back to another slice of pizza. This week, I'm super excited to have this guy on the show. The first time I met this guy, he was leading a prayer experience where they were flying paper airplanes around the room and like kids getting poked in the eye and stuff. It was hectic, but the kids really enjoyed it and got a lot out of it, I think. He's a really crazy guy, and he's done some, wild things in his pursuit of holiness and growing his relationship with Jesus. And I'm really excited to have this chat, and I hope he has a lot of wisdom to share with me and you. John Nguyen, how you doing, man?
Yeah, good, man. Good. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be on here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. I'm a little bit nervous. I don't know what's going to happen, but
yeah, so
it's going to be good. I'm sure of that.
Yeah.
What do you do with yourself? You work here in Brisbane?
I work here in Sydney.
That's where I usually am.
Really lucky, really blessed to work here in Sydney Catholic Youth.
Yep.
Just recently joined the team. So super excited to journey with the youth in the Sydney Archdiocese.
Yeah, and so what does your job look like? What are your main responsibilities?
Yeah, great question. So basically, really journeying with youth leaders. Our two main focuses for our youth office is evangelization and leadership. So really mentoring and journeying with our leaders, but as well creating events for those that aren't church, those that aren't, really into the faith just yet. So it's a really epic adventure.
Yeah, awesome. I think you're a guy who's definitely fit for roles of leadership. I think you lead.
Gosh.
Yeah, you got a lot of integrity. I
Make
think.
me blush.
You do, and I think and that's what we're here to talk about a little bit. Not integrity in ministry, but just forming others in the way you live your life and the witness of your life. And you have done some pretty radical things. One of which is Exodus 90.
Yeah.
We both did that. I did mine in the lead up to my wedding, which was really good. And you're kind of still on it. So, when did you start Exodus? When did you finish, and where are you at now?
Yeah, so crazy coincidence is we started a week after after you guys started. So it was, when was it?
Remember?
I think it was August
20.
Yeah, or September. I think we started. Yeah, we might have started September last year in 2019, and we finished up at December.
Yep.
And it was a crazy time. We are still doing it. Not the full
what is the full Exodus 90?
So full Exodus 90, they focus on 3 pillars. So it's prayer, so a holy hour every day, and along with some other things. And then asceticisms, like cold showers.
Fasting from snacking.
Fasting from snacking.
You fast twice a week.
No
meat on Wednesdays and Fridays.
Which was absolutely insane. No video games.
No movies.
No movies.
No social media.
It's a whole lot of no's, really.
Literally, so many no's.
And then the last one, which was actually the biggest surprise for me and the boys I journeyed with, was fraternity. We had to meet every week to talk about how we were going and stuff like that.
And your different commitments. And
and so we've been going now since those 90 days where I actually journal every day. And we are on day 465, I think. So we've done Exodus 90 in rotation for quite a long time.
That's
it's
nuts,
been a crazy journey.
When you were doing the full 90, what were some of the disciplines you found the hardest?
Okay, I'll be very honest. I am
cold showers.
Okay, that was good. That was actually hard. That was hard because it was still cold. Last year was still cold during that time. It was going up into summer, but it was cold showers was deadly. One thing I absolutely hate, and I still hate today, is the no meat on Wednesdays and Fridays, which is a bit random, right? Because everything else is no video games, no social media, no internet. That would be killer. But for me, I absolutely love food. If eating food is a hobby,
that's yours.
That's my main hobby, right? Okay. So that was really tough because it really made me have to say no, especially when you would go to parties or you would eat out with your friends and they order this massive steak, and you're just like,
or a chicken palmy.
can I have the salad?
Palmy.
You know, can I
have the veggie burger?
or the fish and chips. Fish and chips is good, but nothing
not the
compares
same
to
as a big juicy steak
or ribs or something like that. Yeah, so that's what I found the hardest.
Okay, cool.
Stuff.
So that was maybe one of the first things to go, but you've definitely still kept the fraternity. What has that been like? What have been some of the fruits of that?
Yeah, you know, honesty, me and the gents that I journeyed with, we came from everywhere. Like we were laughing at the end of Exodus 90 because we were like, man, who would have thought God would bring all of us together? Like some of us, like we all knew each other in some ways, and some boys didn't. But when we came into it as strangers. And coming out, we were like tight-knit brotherhood. One of the things that we got challenged to do in Exodus 90 was go on a hike. And so we went on a hike, and that changed our fraternity forever because, no joke, Zach, I'm telling you, the leader of our group, he was really adventurous, and he took us onto these trails.
It wasn't just any trail.
And what happened was, we decided to take a detour and go on top of a waterfall. Cool. And I'm telling you, the waterfall is massive. Like it is like, if you fall, you die. Like you go splat. And so what we ended up doing was we took some time to pray on top of this waterfall. Some of the boys were, venturing deeper into the waterfall. It's quite flat. And this guy, he decided to just see how high the waterfall was. So he decided to literally go to the very edge and just peer down. And he's just looking over. And me and the other boys were talking, and he's just sitting on the edge. Right? He gets from the edge, sitting on the edge, and we're like, bro, what are you doing? Like, if you trip over, you're gonna die. And anyway, we leave him for a minute. Then we hear this mad splash, right? And how the waterfall works is there's like the ground, and then there's like this river, little tiny river of water coming from the waterfall that makes it into a bigger waterfall. And what ends up happening is, as soon as we hear the splash, it's like in the movies, all our heads just like snap right to the splash, and he's screaming because he's holding on to like the edges of this little like trickle waterfall, and it's slimy, it's moldy, and the water's like building on his back, going to push him over. And when he trips into the water, one of the boys that was near him grabs his hand, but he falls over. And I'm telling you, Zach, it was like life or death, because he could have, that guy that just grabbed him, he trips over, but he falls onto the to the safety side rather than over the edge. But he could have went either or. And so he's pulling him up, but they're struggling and they're all wet, they're all drenched while the water's building up, trying to push this guy over. And then all of us just leg it. All of us are like just running, and we're like taking them out, all these things. And at that point, we're like, whoa, this is full on. Like, this is real. Like, he was telling us afterwards, because we had our Exodus meeting after.
Right.
And, you know, and we're like,
it would have been this awkward silence at the start of like, what just happened?
And he goes, guys, no joke, I really thought I was gonna die. And I said to God, give me this one more chance. Like, give me another chance. And he said he never felt that way ever in his life. That moment of like near life and death. And the other guy felt the same. And I was saying to the boys, I was saying to him especially, I was like, man, I'm lucky you didn't fall over. He goes, thanks, John. And I'm like, yeah, because you had the car keys. What the hell? No, I'm kidding. But he did have the car keys. But yeah, it's been a crazy journey, man. Like, fraternity and that brotherhood, man, when you suffer together as brothers, like as men, or just
even
when
if someone doesn't almost fall off the waterfall.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
there's some, and I grew up in North Queensland in Townsville, and every year, or not every year, but when cyclones come through, and something about enduring hardships together.
Exactly.
That draws you together and unifies you for sure.
Yeah.
Another thing that Exodus offers, I guess, is that asceticism. Like, what is asceticism really?
Yeah, so asceticism really, I guess, for me personally, I find it like a refinement. Like, it's really denying yourself of certain things that you enjoy, certain things that you like, and really hones you and purifies you or sanctifies you. Maybe that's a better word. For a particular thing. So for us in this whole Exodus 90 journey, it was like this desert journey of sanctification, purification, and the asceticism was just getting us to remove the Egypts in our life. Right? Remove those false idols
freedom,
and
of slavery.
Yes, a place of slavery, so that we could really enjoy the freedom. And I think that's what asceticism is. At the heart of it is getting us to remove things in our life so that we can appreciate God's gifts in our life. But it's not just about complete removal, but I really think at the end of it is self-mastery. Asceticism teach us how to master ourselves, master our appetites, the way we sleep, the way we function. Honestly, I never thought I would go 90 days without video games. Like, I've been playing video games for like my whole life. And when I saw it as a thing to give up,
It's almost a deal breaker.
Yeah, I was like, man, I don't know if I can handle this.
I find that asceticism's not just, as you said, not just saying no to these things that can kind of like maybe enslave you, but also helps you make room for the good things and give you more time to pray, to hang out with your family, to hang out with your friends, your brotherhood, which is really cool. I think it's something that, like, asceticism is probably quite countercultural. I was sort of sharing with you a little bit earlier, I feel like we live in a society where there's a big division between, I guess, our souls, or maybe if you don't believe in a soul, maybe it's your mind and our bodies. And whether people know it or not, I feel like there is this dualism that happens. When our stomach hurts, we say, oh, my stomach hurts. Or when our head hurts, like, my head hurts. So we acknowledge this in our speech. And we acknowledge it in our mind and in our soul. We speak it out and we acknowledge it. We let our soul or our mind feel how our body's feeling. But when it's the other way around, and when our soul or our mind is feeling a particular way, maybe it's feeling sad. I'm not talking about depression. Like, that's a real thing. And sometimes you need help. But maybe just general feelings of sadness or boredom, rather than like let our bodies feel that and experience that in a healthy way, or anger, we sort of bottle it up. We go around and we consume to try and fill that void or fill that thing that's going on. And Exodus challenges you not to do that. And there's times when, because 90 days is a long period of time. There's times when you will want to make your body feel good when your soul is not. When you're anxious about your assignments, when you are sad because, your girlfriend broke up with you, or you're frustrated because, your colleague at work is annoying you. It challenges you to allow your body to actually feel those things, which is something that is so countercultural. We don't do today.
So true.
And I think that fasting is definitely something that we need to start doing as Catholics and Christians in particular.
If mentally I feel crap about myself, I don't want to pray anymore. You know? And so these things about fasting and, asceticisms and fraternity, they're constantly reminding you that the mind, body, and soul are all connected. They're all one and intertwined, and if one suffers, another suffers, and another suffers. Like, just because you're really good mentally, but you don't exercise and you don't, push yourself in terms of your physical limits, eventually your mental's going to strain. Like, you're going to just feel just not good. And then you think that you're not good. And then your relationship with God suffers because of it. Yeah. So definitely fasting is totally needed. And
it's not to get something.
Exactly.
It's to reset everything, to bring it all back to this equilibrium, the way that God intended it, and to go about your life. Since you've sort of finished Exodus, you've sort of not continued to just do everything. You've taken a break from things. You play a few video games. What are some of the other things that you've done? You've done some of the the other challenges. What have they been like?
Yeah, some of them have been pretty crazy. So Exodus 90 has these things called mountain ranges, and they're not necessarily all the Exodus 90 stuff. Some things they still take from there. There've been interesting ones like saying Our Father before you have a shower, which was really wacky because that in particular made me realize, you can really pray anytime you want. You don't just have to go to mass.
Stick to your 1 hour in the morning.
Stick to 1 hour in the morning.
I always do this. I swing between this journey with Jesus where I commit to my prayer in the morning and I don't pray throughout the day. And then I realize that I'm like, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pray throughout the day. And then I start praying in the morning. And I'm like, it's like never
It's always
stops.
that tussle up, right? And so, really, that particular asceticism challenged us to remember that
Even the supposed to be in prayer.
Even the smallest things is prayer, you know, and whether in the shower, whether we're going to sleep, or I don't know, getting a haircut. These moments are moments of prayer and connection with God, because God is everywhere. You know, God is in every person. So, other asceticism things that we've done, a really wacky one. Oh, no, not too wacky. Was really every meal that we were to have, we had to thank God. You know, just before we were to eat, we would have to do a little celebration or cheers. You know, like we would lift up our drinks and say, "Thank you, God, for my work today." You know, like those things. I think at the end of the day, going back to the fasting, is when we give something up, we
start to realize.
Realize how grateful we are though for the things that we don't have. And I think that's what Exodus 90 and this whole journey has been about. This whole fasting journey, asceticism journey, aesthetic journey. It's all been about removing these things that are good, but reminding us that they can be even greater if we order it to God.
I love that. It's just about living our lives in correctly, and that's like, you know, sin is missing the mark. And so when we're doing these practices, it's like we're straightening our aim and we're going towards the ideal and our target, and we're hitting it. But have you found yourself at any time, or any of your brothers found yourself being maybe overly scrupulous? Maybe someone's watching this and saying, "Man, I don't need any more ascetic practices. Like, I'm quite scrupulous as it is." Like, what would you say to them? No, I found myself doing that, man.
In honesty, like a lot of the gents, a good chunk of the gents, or one in particular wanted to give up from the first week, because they really felt not good enough, right? They really felt like, man, I do all these things that we were giving up on a daily basis. I just can't handle it. And for him in particular, he just felt so foreign to the rest of us, because he wasn't really practicing the faith for a while. And now, though, he's said yes to. Actually, in Exodus 90, at the end of it, he wants to leave. Right at the end of it, he wanted to leave, and but he saw all of us really keen, really excited to stay, and so he decided to stay. He decided to really stay, and we actually had a meeting recently, and he said that, without this group, without these asceticisms, us pushing each other, he wouldn't be what he is now, where he is now. A man totally changed, you know, for the better. A lot of us do want to give up, but I think one thing that reminds us, or one thing that pushes us, is we're all doing it together. We're all suffering together. And I think when you suffer together, it doesn't matter how much we fall. You know, like, of course, we don't want to keep falling.
You touched on a really important point, and like that transformation with your friend was only possible because when he was feeling unworthy, like you encouraged him, said, "You are." You know. And I think sometimes when people are scrupulous and they're like feeling like, I just keep on stuffing up, we tend to want to give up, and it's okay to acknowledge that we're all human and we all make mistakes, and sometimes enough is enough, and we need to enjoy some of the things in life, and that's okay. And I had
that's right.
Experience recently where, like, you know, I stuffed up, and it was something that maybe I'm quite ashamed about, and I felt God rush in and protect me from this guilt and this shame and this condemnation. And it wasn't like I was like, oh, I don't care that I've sinned. It wasn't like that, but it was like, I've sinned, but this is why I need a saviour.
Amen.
But I think there comes a time when you need to go on an ascetic journey. I'm feeling it, man. I'm about a year out from finishing Exodus, and I'm like, my self-mastery could use a bit of work. And so I think it's definitely time for me to pick up a couple of those practices. Would you have any encouragement for anyone who is maybe thinking about doing something like Exodus, or like living more ascetically, or living more in line with their body, mind, and soul, like you said?
In all honesty, like for you guys out there that really thinking about the Exodus 90 journey, and maybe you're scared about the asceticisms and, the
Cold
things,
showers.
the cold showers, the video games. Those things are there to really push you to your limits. I'll be honest, I won't sugarcoat it. It's not an easy journey. I'm not gonna say that you're gonna have the time of your life doing it, but you do find your life again from doing it, right? And it makes you realize that, Exodus 90 just gives you hope. And I think fasting and asceticisms, all these things, is about giving you hope that you just don't need to do it by yourself anymore. In my community I go to, we have this line, we say, brothers build brothers. And I feel like that's what Exodus 90 did. It allowed us to build each other up. And for the sisters, out there who are listening, who are watching, and you can't do Exodus 90, I think they have their own Fiat 90 or whatever program out there. If you're thinking about that journey, it's a crazy, amazing experience because it makes you realize that holiness is achievable, especially when you do it together. And what better way than, suffering a bit, I think it's through the ascetic practices that allow you to suffer and feel the suffering of Christ just a tiny bit. But it's that suffering, I feel like every time you suffer, you come closer and closer to God.
And they help us see the good things in life.
Yeah, exactly.
Appreciate them more. So I think that's all we've got time for, bro. Thank you so much for joining us on Untitled Pizza. And maybe if you're not feeling up to Exodus or Fiat, maybe just take some time this week to think, what could I give up this week in order to, maybe align more with Jesus and to grow in my relationship with Jesus. So I say kind of you. Thanks for joining us. See you next week for another slice of pizza, and good luck.
Shalom World brings to you the Catholic faith in all its different dimensions. It can be a faith to inspire you in your own living of your Catholic life in society. Shalom World offers you an opportunity of being enriched and strengthened in your family life. We live in a culture that needs to have a Catholic presence. We live in a culture that needs to be evangelized by the presence of Catholic teaching and the inspiration to live according to our Catholic way of life. I recommend to you to be involved in the work of Shalom World. May the Lord bless you and bless the work of Shalom World. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.